began on a warm summer morning in Adelaide, South Australia, December 1st, 1948. The sea was calm, the air heavy with salt, and the sand of Somerton Beach gleamed under a pale early light. The beach was nearly empty, save for the distant hum of the city waking up beyond the cliffs. Near the shoreline, a man lay propped against the seawall, his legs neatly crossed, one arm at his side and the other bent slightly, as though he had simply fallen asleep watching the tide. At first, the sight didn't seem alarming. A few early joggers assumed he was drunk, sleeping off the night. But as the morning sun climbed, the man didn't stir. Flies gathered at his collar, his stillness unnatural against the lazy rhythm of the sea. A couple walking their dog finally drew close enough to see his face, smooth, clean-shaven, peaceful. His skin was pale, his lips faintly parted, as though he had whispered a final secret into the wind. They called the police. By the time officers arrived, the scene was strangely pristine. The man wore a pressed brown suit, polished shoes, and a white shirt. He had no hat, which was unusual for the time. His pockets contained a few items: a comb, some cigarettes, a pack of chewing gum, and 2 train tickets. There was no wallet, no cash, no identification. The labels from every piece of his clothing had been carefully cut away. Even the tailor's tags were gone. The detectives at first thought it might be suicide, but there was no note, no weapon, and no clue to his identity. The man's posture seemed almost deliberate, like a pose meant to be remembered. He was in his mid-40s, fit, clean, well-groomed, someone who didn't belong here, alone on a beach, at the edge of nowhere. The body was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. The doctors were puzzled. His pupils were tiny, a classic sign of poisoning, yet no poison could be detected. His internal organs were congested. His spleen was swollen to nearly twice its size. The pathologist, Dr. Dwyer, concluded the cause of death was heart failure due to unknown poison. He'd never seen anything like it. Detectives combed the area, searching for any trace of who the man was. They found nothing. No witnesses who had seen him arrive, no one who knew his face. It was as though he had appeared out of the night and simply stopped existing. Then came the first twist. A week later, police found a small brown suitcase left at Adelaide railway station. It had been checked in on November 30th, the day before the body was found. The case contained ordinary items: a pair of slippers, pajamas, a screwdriver, and a stencil brush used for ship work. But again, every label had been removed. Inside a hidden pocket, they found a tiny thread of orange waxed cord, the same kind used to repair the man's clothing. The suitcase deepened the mystery. There were hints of travel, perhaps from Melbourne, maybe Sydney, but no passenger records matched. Handwriting found on a few items seemed distinctive, yet there was no name attached. The detectives sent his fingerprints to agencies around the world. None matched. He was, quite literally, a man with no name. Weeks passed. The story hit newspapers across Australia. Mystery man found on Somerton Beach. People began coming forward with theories. Some believed he was a sailor. Others thought he might be an American serviceman left behind after the war. But none of the missing persons reports came close. Then, in January, the coroner's team discovered something remarkable: a secret pocket sewn into the waistband of the man's trousers. Inside was a tiny rolled-up piece of paper, barely visible. On it, printed in elaborate Persian script, were 2 words: Tamam shud. The phrase, translated from Persian, means "it is finished." The words had been neatly torn from the final page of a rare book, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, a collection of 12th century Persian poems about fate, love, and death. When that discovery was made public, the entire case shifted from strange to surreal. Police scoured bookshops and libraries across Adelaide, searching for a copy of the Rubaiyat that matched the torn page. For weeks, nothing turned up. Then, a man from the suburb of Glenelg came forward. He had found a copy of the Rubaiyat tossed in the back seat of his car, a car he had parked near Somerton Beach around the time the body was discovered. The final page was missing, torn cleanly away. It was the missing half of the Tamam Shud slip. Inside the book's back cover, faint indentations from handwriting were visible. Using ultraviolet light and forensic methods, investigators revealed a series of random letters, a code, 5 lines of capital letters grouped like ciphertext. Some repeated patterns, others not. Beneath it, a local telephone number. The code was sent to military cryptographers, language experts, and naval intelligence. None could decipher it. The phone number, however, led detectives to a young woman living nearby, Nurse Jessica Thompson, who lived less than a mile from where the man had been found. When police showed her the man's plaster-cast bust, she reacted with visible shock. Her skin went pale, her lips trembled, and she refused to look again. She claimed not to know him, at least not by name, but she admitted she once owned a copy of the Rubaiyat, identical to the one found. She said she had given it to a man she knew years earlier, a man named Alfred Boxall, a lieutenant in the Australian Army during World War II. For a moment, investigators thought the mystery had cracked open. But when they found Boxall alive and well in Sydney, still in possession of the copy Jessica had given him, the trail went cold once again. The dead man was not Boxall. Who was he? And why had he carried that torn page, "It is finished," in a hidden pocket?
The case haunted the detectives for years. The man's fingerprints, shared internationally, matched no records. His dental features didn't appear in any registry. His clothing was of American origin, but his shoes were repaired with a method used in the UK. His suitcase contained items marked with the name T. Keane, but police quickly discovered those tags were planted, likely decoys. Every clue seemed designed to mislead. Then came the autopsy details that deepened the enigma. There was no sign of struggle, no trauma, no external injury, yet his body chemistry suggested poisoning, perhaps digitalis or strophanthin, rare cardiac agents known to cause sudden death without visible traces. These substances could be obtained only by professionals, doctors, scientists, or spies. And that was when whispers began. Australia in 1948 was a hotbed of Cold War espionage. Soviet intelligence was active throughout the region. Some of the decoded letters in the book resembled encryption patterns used in wartime. The mysterious code, the missing identification, the perfect grooming all began to fit the outline of something darker: espionage. Could the Somerton Man have been a spy? Some speculated he was a foreign operative who'd been poisoned after a failed mission. Others thought he carried microfilm or secrets hidden in his belongings, secrets now lost forever to the waves. In the years that followed, the Somerton Man was buried in West Terrace Cemetery beneath a simple headstone that read, "Here lies the unknown man found at Somerton Beach, 1st December 1948. His face, immortalized in a plaster cast, stared out from police archives for decades. Forensic experts, journalists, and amateur detectives obsessed over the case. Each clue led to more questions. Some argued Jessica Thompson knew more than she admitted. Others believed she was protecting someone, perhaps her own child. Decades later, an astonishing discovery reignited the mystery. Jessica's son, Robin, bore a striking resemblance to the Somerton Man. Photographs compared side by side revealed nearly identical ear shapes and a rare genetic dental feature known as hypodontia, shared by only 2% of the population. Could Robin have been the Somerton Man's son? If so, it would mean Jessica Thompson had known him intimately and had chosen silence over revelation. Over the decades, new evidence surfaced. In 2009, researchers analyzed the man's hair under modern technology and found traces of unusual metals, suggesting exposure to rare chemicals. Some scientists proposed that he could have been involved in chemical research or the black market trade of experimental substances. Others still insisted on the spy theory, a man with no name, no tags, no trace, carrying a coded message and dying by an untraceable poison. It was the perfect spy's death. Then, more than 70 years after that morning on Somerton Beach, forensic technology finally caught up with the mystery. In 2022, DNA analysis performed by Professor Derek Abbott and his team identified the Somerton Man as Carl/Charles Webb, an electrical engineer from Melbourne, born in 1905. Records indicated he had separated from his wife shortly before his disappearance. At last, the unknown man had a name, and yet the answers only deepened the mystery. Why had Webb abandoned his identity? Why had he removed every label from his belongings? What was he doing in Adelaide, hundreds of miles from home? And what of the coded message, the book, and Jessica Thompson's reaction, none of which align neatly with the official story? To this day, the case still feels unfinished. Even with a name, the enigma of that morning endures. The man sitting peacefully by the sea, shoes polished, body immaculate, as if waiting for someone who never came. Some say it was heartbreak that killed him. Others believe he was silenced for what he knew. And there are those who claim that Somerton Beach still holds secrets, that the sea whispers a name the wind can't quite carry. He remains, even now, more than a mystery, a ghost of the Cold War, a man erased by time, remembered only by a Persian phrase that summed up his fate: Tamam shud. It is finished.